to order the regular council meeting of February 10th, 2014. Mr. Spagman, please call the roll.
Dixon.
Here.
Givens.
Here.
Hannon.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Here.
Mowry. O'Brien.
Present.
Haig.
6 members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under chair announcements, an executive session of council was held on Monday, January 27th, 2014 to discuss a police personnel issue and legal and personnel issues, and today, Tuesday, February 10th, 2014, to discuss litigation. Let's move to the report of the officials, the library director's report.
Good evening. My name is Christine, and I'm the director of Your Public Library, where we provide services to inform, inspire, and enrich the community. Just have a few programs to highlight. We do have AARP tax assistance on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. This will be every Tuesday through April 8th. We have 2 volunteers that are here to help seniors and those considered low income complete their tax forms, simple returns. And I have to say, when I get here at 8 o'clock on Tuesday mornings, there's people in the hallway, so come early. We have a Windows 8 laptop class that will be held on Friday, February 14th at 9:30 in the morning. You have to bring your laptop. The library is currently not running Windows 8. We will be shortly, but we are not currently. But Rob, our librarian who teaches all of these classes, will teach you about Windows 8 and how to navigate it. And we also will have the author of a book called Pittsburgh Mansions. It's part of the Images of America series. It's the same series that our Bethel Park history book is from. She will be here on Tuesday, February 25th at 7 p.m., and her book explores the stately homes of the area's prominent residents from the 1830s through the 1920s. So all of the Mellons and the Carnegies and Scaife. There will be books available for sale, and she's willing to sign them. So again, that's Tuesday, February 25th at 7 p.m. And I know I talked about this last month, but I want to bring it up again. The library does have a new service. Freegal Music is available for you at the library. Actually, you can get it from anywhere where you have a computer. It's an e-resource providing access to over 3 million popular songs and music videos. So you can download, each patron can download 3 free songs per week or 1 music video and 1 song per week. It's free to you. There's no software to download. All you need is your library card. You can access that from the library's website under the e-resources tab. And February is Love Your Library Month. So we are selling $1 hearts on which we would like you to write what you like most about your library. And we are hanging those up in our circulation area so you can read what other people love about the library also. And I have one announcement. The library will be closed on Sunday, February 16th and Monday, February 17th. We're getting computer system software upgrade. This will be countywide. Some of the libraries will be open. We chose not to be because we can't check anything out. We can't check anything in. The computers will not be available, so we will not be here. But for more information on any of the programs I talked about or the services offered by the library, you can visit the library's website at bethelparklibrary.org. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions, Council? Thank you. Next, the police chief's report. Chief Mack.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's kind of a special night for the police department. This is the one time a year when we get to recognize our police officers for their meritorious service for the prior year. So I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. I just had a couple other announcements that I would like to give everyone first. The Bethel Park Police Pals Pittsburgh Steelers basketball game is scheduled for April 4th. I believe that's a Friday. Okay, getting a nod back there. That's at 8 p.m., of course, at the Bethel Park High School. There's a pregame event at 6 p.m., and the concession stand opens at 5:30. The proceeds from the basketball game benefit the Charles Bonzac Scholarship Fund that we established a few years ago. And what we do is we provide $500 scholarships to Bethel Park High School students who participate in our law enforcement apprenticeship program, and they have plans on attending college for careers in law enforcement. The tickets are $7 in advance, $9 at the door, and you can purchase tickets at EV True Value Hardware on Route 88 or the Eaton Park on Route 88, as well as the Police Records Room. The next Crime Watch meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 24th. Of course, that'll be held at the Community Center at 6:30. And as always, we put the pitch out there that we're still looking for members. We have over 1,000 of your neighbors that have signed up for Crime Watch, and I'm sure they'd like to see more of you participate. So if you're at all interested, please contact Officer Rigatti. The last announcement I have is we are going to participate again in the Drug Enforcement Administration Drug Take-Back Program. It's a very popular program. We've participated since the beginning. The next scheduled date is Saturday, April 26th. That's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And once again, we'll have the same two locations that we've had in the past, the Community Center and the Highmark Direct Building up at Norman Center. Once again, that's for people who are trying to get rid of their unused, unwanted, expired medications. We ask you to bring only pills, not needles or liquids. We have other means of disposing them, but for the drug take-back program, we just ask you to bring your pills. Those are my announcements, and I guess before we actually get into the awards, I just, for those of you who don't know, just a quick background on why we're here tonight. Back in 1969, Dr. David McNary from the Pittsburgh Western Land Corporation established the Bethel Park Police Merit Foundation. It was his idea and his concept to award police officers for their service. And the way that started and the way we continue today is we solicit the business folks here in Bethel Park. They make donations, and because of that, we're able to offer our recipients with monetary donations. We have a beautiful plaque down in the police lobby, and the winner of the, we now call it the Meritorious Award Foundation, that person's name goes on the plaque in the lobby, and it's there for forevermore. I guess at this time, I would like to thank all of our donors who have contributed to the success of this program over the years, and particularly for this year, for their donations. I would also like to give a special thank you to Mr. Bob Smoker, who owns the Buggy Bath down on 88. He's actually a former police officer, and a couple of days ago, Bob was very generous. He made donations to our winners tonight in the form of gift certificates for the car wash. And we're having a pretty rough winter, so I'm sure they're going to greatly appreciate the car washes. So thanks again to Bob, one of our former officers. At this time, I would like to identify the members of the Meritorious Foundation Board, and if they are here, I'll ask them to step forward. Our president is Daniel Flynn, but I don't think Dan is here tonight. Our vice president is Andy Amrine. Our treasurer, Tom Bailey, I don't believe is here. Lieutenant Dave Rogan. Mayor Jack Allen. And Council President Tim Mowry. An unusual occurrence this year. We give 3 awards, and this is the first time in the 14-plus years that I've been here that we actually had a tie in the balloting. So we're actually going to give 4 awards tonight. So what I'll do is all the officers are here. I will call the officers up in order, just ask you to step forward, and then whoever has the certificates can pass those out, along with the Buggy Bath gift certificate, a check, and also the first place recipient gets a pin for his uniform. So first, actually our tie for third place was between 2 officers, and I'll ask them to step up and I'll tell you a little bit about them. And that's Officer Joel Dixon and Officer Tom Rigatti. Okay. First, Joel Dixon is basically a 4-year veteran of the police department. Joelle was hired on August 3rd of 2009, and she currently serves in our investigations division. Prior to working in Bethel Park, Joelle worked for the Green Tree Police Department and Boca Raton Department in Florida. Any other ones? Okay, those aren't the important ones. Okay. Tom Rigatti. Tom started with the Bethel Park Police Department on August 22nd, 1988. So Tom is a 25-year veteran of the police department. Of course, Tom is our crime prevention and community resource officer. And many of you know Tom from his work in the community, and unfortunately, Tom recently put into the drop pension program. So he's got a couple more years with us, and Tom will pass the torch. So anyhow, I'd ask Mayor Allen to pass out these awards. All right, they're shy. They don't want to say anything. Okay, our second place recipient this year is Fred Paganico. Fred started with the Bethel Park Police Department on March 12th, 1990. That makes him a 23-year veteran of the force, and Fred is also a member of the Investigations Division and is actually a supervisor of that division. And if you have any identity theft or credit card complaints, he's the guy to see. And I'll ask Lieutenant Rogan to give him his award. Okay, there's one officer left, and that is Sean Gorman. So we don't really use terms like Officer of the Year. However, Sean is being the first place recipient. He will receive the top prize. However, your Buggy Bath certificate is for the same amount as everybody else. The check is a little bit more, and also you will receive the Meritorious Award pin, as well as your name being put on the plaque downstairs. Just before we give Sean the award, I'd just like to say I know how important the award is to the officers, and I'm sure they really appreciate it because they are voted on by their fellow officers. And I think that makes it that much more important to them because they're recognized by their peers. So on behalf of myself and the rest of the board, I'd like to congratulate everybody. And Andy, if you would, please. And I didn't get a chance to ask Fred or Sean if they'd have anything to say. Okay, everybody's good. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations again, everybody. Mr. Hannon, that is my report for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Now the fire chief's report.
Good evening. My name's Dave Gerber. I'm the fire chief here in Bethel Park. It's been a while since I've been here. Normally we have our meeting nights Monday night. One of my officers normally comes up. So we've now moved our meeting nights due to the fire station getting ready to get moved and stuff. So you'll be stuck with me for the next year or two coming up to talk to you. So the fire chief's report for January. We ran 40 calls. We had 1 fire, 1 electrical condition, 1 elevator rescue, 8 hazardous conditions, 7 service calls, and 22 false alarms. As I mentioned, as our project moves along in replacing Brightwood's fire station down there, we will be moving out of Brightwood's station come the end of this month. So if you don't see us down there or whatever, we will actually be moving the equipment that's down there right next door here up to Kiefer Cole. So anybody doesn't see the fire trucks down there, don't be alarmed. We're still real close and in the neighborhood, and we won't interrupt our service or delivery at all for that. Our mailing address and everything will be the same. We're just going to be up the street a couple hundred yards. So being it's the winter this time of year and stuff, we ask you that, being that it's still snowing and stuff outside and unfortunately freezing cold, anytime we have any type of snowfall or significant snowfall, if you have a fire hydrant in front of your house or real close to your property, across the street, whatever, we ask that you try and take a couple minutes to shovel it out so that we can get to it in case of an emergency. The last thing we want to do is delay having any type of water issues due to snow being packed around the fire hydrants and stuff. We could try to get out and do that, but I believe there's close to 500 fire hydrants in Bethel Park. To get out and get them all shoveled all the time with a volunteer staff is very difficult. So we ask you that if you have a fire hydrant in your front yard and you can, please get out to shovel that out while you're shoveling your driveway and take a few minutes just in case there would be an emergency at your house or any of your neighbors. The last thing is, being that it is so cold, I believe it's getting down to 7 or 8 degrees again this evening. One of the things we see a lot of this time of year is space heaters and issues with that. If you're going to use a space heater in your house for any type of heating, I use one down in my basement and stuff so my pipes don't freeze and stuff in the basement and all. If you're going to use it, we ask you that, one, please do not use an extension cord with that. We've had a couple issues lately of extension cords and space heaters. You don't want to use an extension cord at all at a space heater. If you can, plug it directly into the wall. Also, if you are using a space heater, we ask that you keep a 3-foot barrier around the space heater. You don't want anything within a 3-foot circle of that. The space heaters tend to get hot. They tend to get real hot, and anything that closer than 3 feet has a tendency to get overly hot and can catch on fire. Also, that if you're going to have a space heater plugged into any type of receptacle, well, you're going to have it obviously plugged into a receptacle. Make sure that that's the only space heater or heating appliance that you have plugged in. Heating appliance being something like a toaster, a coffee pot, things along those lines. You only want to have one thing plugged into that outlet. And like I said, we tend to see a lot of that stuff around. So please be careful. Any type of heating problems and stuff like that. If you have any questions, you always feel free to call down to the station, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you and help you out with anything you need. Other than that, I believe that is all I have, folks.
Thanks.
Next day.
Okay, and next we have the mayor's report, Mayor Allen.
You're welcome back. Welcome, everyone. I actually have 3 items tonight, and in the theme of presenting awards, the first item is a letter that we actually just received today at the municipal building, and I'd like to read just part of it for you. This is from a company called Neighborhood Scout. It says, "Dear Chief Mackey, as President and CEO of Location Inc., creators of neighborhood research site Neighborhood Scout, I am pleased to inform you that Bethel Park, Pennsylvania has achieved the ranking of the 50th safest city in America based on their latest research. We wish to present you with the enclosed certificate in recognition of this tremendous civic achievement. At Neighborhood Scout, we are passionate about uncovering true and comprehensive characteristics of every neighborhood in America, including safety. We know that the success of any crime prevention strategy requires a resourceful village and police force and a full commitment of the city's residents. The enclosed 2014 Safest Cities in America Award honors not only the accomplishments of your police force, but also community bonded and prideful citizenship. This award started in 2002, and each year they publish a list of the top 100 safest cities calculated at 25,000 or more. So I just wanted to let everyone know that Bethel Park is the 50th safest city in America, and this is actually our award. And it'll be put downstairs and proudly exhibited. Second item I have, if you remember last month, I was trying to recognize people that bring volunteerism, make Bethel Park a better place to live. So I was on a search to find out someone for February. Dave Cable called me up and I said, this is great. So we're recognizing for the month of February, Bethel Park TV volunteers. The 2 gentlemen are in the camera. There's people downstairs. He gave me a few notes to just pass on. There's currently 12 participating volunteers in the department. The average tenure is 8 years, and a few members have over 10. For the past 5 years, Bethel Park TV has produced on an average of 250 programs per year. Last year, they produced 374 different programs, up from 278 the year before. 6 volunteers received Outstanding Service Awards for their contributions at the award dinner, and the 2013 Volunteer of the Year has helped make over 100 programs just himself or herself. Any resident in Bethel Park can use Bethel Park TV's facility to produce their own program at no cost. They're always looking for new volunteers, no experience necessary, they'll train you. And if there's a program that you see on the station and you would like a copy, for $5, you can get a copy of the program, and all the proceeds go to the Bethel Park Volunteer Scholarship Fund. And as Mr. O'Brien can attest to, they've been nothing but great when we put programs together for the veterans in Bethel Park. So I'd like to, again, recognize Bethel Park TV volunteers for February. And last, but sure not least, I'd like to have Mr. McTiernan come up here. Mr. McTiernan is actually celebrating his 20th year this month as a solicitor for Bethel Park. So I have a proclamation. You knew it was coming. A proclamation in recognition of Robert L. McTiernan. Whereas Bob earned his A.B. magna cum laude from Harvard University in 1973, and his Juris Doctor from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law in 1977. And whereas Bob has been practicing law for more than 30 years, primarily in the area of labor and employment law, in addition to the municipality of Bethel Park, Bob currently serves as solicitor to Scott Township, Swissville Borough, and Emsworth Borough. He's also served as a solicitor for the Allegheny County Boroughs Association and the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association. And whereas, most importantly, Bob has been the solicitor for the municipality of Bethel Park for 20 years, becoming the longest-serving solicitor in Bethel Park history. And whereas Bob's honorable efforts and dedication are genuinely appreciated, and he helped make Bethel Park a unique and desirable place to live. And whereas Bob has received numerous awards, most notably selected as one of the best lawyers in America in both labor and employment law and municipal law, is regularly named as a Pennsylvania super lawyer in the employment and labor law category. Therefore, I, Jack Allen, Mayor of the Municipality of Bethel Park, do hereby recognize Robert L. McTiernan, Solicitor, for his 20 years of dedication and service to the Municipality of Bethel Park. Given under my hand and this seal of the Mayor of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, this 10th day of February, 2014.
An Irish lawyer at that.
Yes. I'm surprised and very honored by this proclamation, Mayor, and by the council. I can tell you I consider it one of the great honors in my life to serve as a solicitor of Bethel Park. I think it's a wonderful community. The level of community spirit is extraordinary. The quality of municipal services and the people I get to work with in this position are really extraordinary, and I can't thank you enough for your kindness to me over the years. It's wonderful work for wonderful people, and I can't thank you enough for this evening.
We'll do it again at 50. And that's my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, approval of minutes, Mr. McLean.
Next item is approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of January 13, 2014. I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of January 13, 2014.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the regular council meeting minutes of January 13, 2014. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Spagno, please call the roll.
Givens,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. McLean.
Next item is bills and payrolls. I move that we approve the bills and payrolls for municipality per list number 021014 in the amount of $542,840.05.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the bills and payrolls for municipality per bill list number 021014 in the amount of $542,840.05. Any discussion from council? Mr. Spagno, please call the roll.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Givens.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next item is the residents' comments on non-agenda items. You have 3 minutes to speak. At 2 minutes, you'll be given the sign that you have to start completing your comments. Please give your name and address prior to starting to speak.
My name is Peter Tonke, and I live at 340 Fruitwood Drive. And I have a small comment. On the one plan I've seen in the newspaper, salt is in short supply in general. I don't know the details here. And then on the other hand, after the basic storms come through and very nicely covered, streets are cleared in a very timely way, then there's things slack off a little bit, and then they come back and put salt on the, I'll call them little glaciers of ice that form in the curbs and spread out into the street. I'm sure these cause problems in some places, but what kind of annoys me is they kind of seem to use the same methods that they do for spreading on streets, a little bit restricted, but most of it, what I've seen, goes on the street and doesn't do its job. And I don't know what can be done about that, but at least I just want to bring that to someone's attention in Public Works to take a look at that and see what could be done to minimize that wastage of salt. And then the larger issue is if, and this is the more time-consumptive thing, if in the non-freezing time of the year, if one or two of these seeps can get rerouted so it goes underground to the storm sewer system, that would eliminate these. And so you don't have to waste salt. It continues as a maintenance item. Yes, it does take time and money to put in piping to bypass these seeps, but at least I just want to have some appropriate people have at least a discussion about this to see whether this would be a good idea.
Thank you, Mr. Conkey. Anyone else would like to speak? Okay. Next item on the agenda is General Policy and Finance. Item 10B has been removed from the agenda for those of you who have agendas. Mr. McLean.
First item is appointment to the Civil Service Commission. I move that we appoint Thomas Will to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2016.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Thomas Will to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire on December 31st, 2016. Any discussion from council? Mr. Spagler, please call the roll.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Givens.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. McLean.
Next is the appointment to the Second Ward Council seat. I move that we appoint Brandon Colella to the vacant Second Ward Council seat, who shall serve as councilman of the Second Ward until the next election in November 2014 and the certification of the results by the Allegheny County Elections Division.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to appoint Brandon Colella to the vacant Second Ward Council seat, who shall serve as councilman of the Second Ward until the next election in November 2014 and certification of the results of the Allegheny County Elections Division. Any discussion, council?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. O'Brien.
the candidates for this appointment were just simply outstanding. It was a very difficult decision. We had youth, we had wisdom, and we had experience. We truly have differences on, some of us have differences on the order. However, I find no reason to vote against this very young and talented man. He will be a fine asset to council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Harrison.
I agree that we had three excellent people to apply, and they know who they are, and I just want to encourage them to continue their interest in serving the community, because we have opportunities quite often to make appointments, and so if they keep alert to them, maybe they can serve us in some other capacity. Thank you very much. And the other thing is that anybody that wants to run for this seat that's being filled by this appointment has the opportunity to run this year in the primary and then the general election if they get the nomination. So it's still sort of a wide open seat, and the public will get a chance to make the decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Any other discussion from council? Mr. Spagler, please call the roll.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Givens.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. McLean.
No further items on the agenda under General Policy and Finance.
Okay, any additional items?
Yes, Mr. Hannon, I have two items I want to speak to tonight. At the last council meeting, the January council meeting, I spoke to the fact that I'm going to continue my campaign to get the state to act on the prevailing wage legislation. It's the 1960 vintage legislation that sorely needs to be changed. I noted that John Marr, our representative of about 2/3 of Bethel Park, the state representative, introduced bills twice to increase the value of the amount that is required. A contract that's judged to be worth more than $25,000 has to get a prevailing wage determination by the state. That basically says that we have to pay union wages for jobs that some of these smaller mom and pop type organizations could do less expensively. I noted that Representative Barr had introduced bills to change that legislation. He did that twice, and at that time the State House was under the control of the Democrats, and the bill never made it to the floor. The change would be very favorable to local governing bodies, all the local governing bodies, the school districts, this type thing. And so I'm hopeful that if I keep reeling about it, that we'll get something done. Having suggested that Representative Marr had introduced bills twice in my behalf, Councilman Dixon seemed to suggest that I was dissing Representative Marr, and that was not my intent at all. I was really congratulating him for providing the opportunity to try to get this bill changed. However, the January council meeting was on the 13th. On the 14th, I sent an email to Representative Marr reminding him of my continuing effort and requested a reply indicating what action he intends to take and when, whatever. And I've received no reply up this time. So I'd suggested that the people maybe put a little oomph on Representative Barr. So I'll tell you that his phone number, local phone number, is 412-831-8080. And if people want more information on the prevailing wage legislation before they call Representative Marr, feel free to call me on 412-833-0449. Now, the second item I'd like to speak to is about the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. Council members set up here bragging about the time they spent with the fire company, arranging for a dedicated tax to support the fire company. And I sincerely believe that there was an extensive effort to do that. The council members were desirous, and I guess the fire company was desirous, of placing a question on the ballot on the May 2013 primary ballot to obtain approval. Council members claimed that the question had to be placed on the primary ballot to accommodate the schedule for initiating the Wrightwood Road replacement activity at the beginning of January 2014. Well, it must be apparent, and what was said on the floor tonight, that didn't come to pass. To accomplish the needed legislation, the enactment of the legislation to be consistent with the Bethel Park Home Rule Charter, which I call the Constitution of Bethel Park, the action would have to be taken in December of 2012. I claim, due to council's ineptness, the legislation was not presented and acted on until January 2013. Therefore, in accordance with the Home Rule Charter, the question would have been placed on the November ballot. Well, the claim was that's too late because they want to start the 1st of January 2014. Council, in enacting the ordinance in January of 2013, once again in my terminology, trashed the Home Rule Charter, got the solicitor, Mr. McTiernan, to give what I call a Philadelphia-type ruling that said, well, it's okay, the state can override our Home Rule Charter. The whole concept of Home Rule, when I was on the Home Rule Commission, was that the local government can set their rules, and we've been living by those rules for all these years. So as you know now, the fire company project is missing their schedule, and it's over budget. the result of a few more months, if we live with the Home Rule Charter, by passing the legislation in January, the question would have gone on the ballot in November. That would have given everybody more time to find out, is the number that was put in there for the tax adequate? Were there any other things that ought to be considered? And the problem is that we're now being told, and it was spoken to on the floor here tonight, that the work on the replacements for the Brightwood Fire Company will not start here for a month or so, whatever the time is. And when the project is complete, it will lack some of the amenities that the public was promised when they were asked to approve the question on the ballot. I think the community, the Bethel Park community, deserves better governing from this legislative body. It seems to me that we're trying to emulate the actions of our federal government, which I find unsatisfactory in terms of not getting their planning done and informing the people what's going on. So thank you very much.
Any discussion from council? Mr. Hannon? Mr. McLean?
I just want to address just two things from what Mr. Harrison said. I'm on the subcommittee for the fire company, and we've been working on this for a long, long time. Some of what Mr. Harrison went into tonight is sort of old history, and he's been through it before. But the thing I want to make sure everyone understands is this project isn't over budget in the sense that it's begun construction and it's spending more money than we have devoted to the project. In fact, what the fire company is doing is the very frugal and correct and prudent step of taking a hard look at the project now before they break ground and making sure that that budget that we put out to the public in connection with the vote on the referendum is the one that will be available to build the building. So the steps they're taking are to ask the hard questions now, not later when they're too deep into the project. And yes, that can take a month or two to do, but it's the prudent step to take, and it's the one they're taking right now. So I want people to understand that that's the process that's going on. And it's not that it is over budget or they're spending more money than they have. We were able, with the approval that was given for the referendum, to go ahead and get the bond issue at a time that was favorable for us to do that. So we have the funds available, and the process that's taking place now is making sure that we have a project that fits within that budget and, in fact, meets what we were told the public at the time of the referendum. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. McLean.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. O'Brien.
I just think after the proclamation today and 20 years of service, I think Mr. McTiernan should be referred to as the Bethel Park lawyer, not the Philadelphia. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any other comments from council?
I just want to comment that Mr. McLean has ignored the fact that, and I'm just, what I read in the paper, and they were quoting fire company personnel, that there are amenities that were proposed to be in the facility that will not be accomplished with the budget that they're working under. And that's what I was referring to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Okay, let's go to planning and zoning and Mr. Dixon.
No one signed up to speak?
No.
I have two items under planning and zoning this evening. First one is application number 2012-0903, Millennium Woods Consolidation and Subdivision Plan, Major Subdivision. I move that we approve application number 2012-0903, Millennium Woods Consolidation and Subdivision Plan, Major Subdivision, Baptist Road, Horning Road, Hilltop Lane, request for reapproval for recording purposes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve application number 2012-0903, Millennium Woods Consolidation and Subdivision Plan, Major Subdivision, Baptist Road, Horning Road, and Hilltop Lane, request for reapproval for recording purposes. Any discussion from council? Mr. Spaglia, please call the roll.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. Dixon.
Second item is application number 2013-0746 for the aforementioned Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, Brightwood, major land development. I move that we approve application number 2013-0746, Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, Brightwood, major land development, 5215 Brightwood Road, Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company applicant, in accordance with the municipal planner's correspondence dated February 6, 2014.
Second. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve application number 2013-0746, Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, Brightwood Major Land Development, 5215 Brightwood Road, Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, applicant in accordance with the municipal planner's correspondence dated February 6, 2014. Any discussion from council? Mr. Spaglia, please call the roll.
Dixon?
Yes.
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. Dixon.
Mr. Hannon, that is all that I have this month under planning and zoning.
Thank you, sir. Any additional items? All right, we'll go to health, safety, and welfare, and Mr. O'Brien, the no one signed up this week.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item A, ordinance amending municipal code section 63 trapping. I move that we approve an ordinance amending the municipal code section 63 trapping to include provisions prohibiting the feeding of deer.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve an ordinance amending the municipal code section 63 trapping to include provisions prohibiting the feeding of deer. Any discussion on this? Mr. Spaglia, please call the roll.
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. O'Brien.
Item B, ordinance amending municipal code section 63 trapping. I move that we approve an ordinance amending a municipal code section 63 trapping to include provisions prohibiting the feeding of wild animals and feral cats.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve an ordinance amending the municipal code section 63 trapping to include provisions prohibiting the feeding of wild animals and feral cats. Any discussion from council? Mr. Spaglia, please call the roll.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Givens?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Chairman, there are no other items under health, safety, and welfare.
Thank you, sir. Any additional items? Hearing none, go to Public Works and Maintenance, and Mrs. Gibbons.
There are no items under Public Works and Maintenance.
Is there any additional items?
Yes,
Mr. President.
Paul.
I just wanted to mention that 30 years ago tomorrow, something happened to me that changed my life forever. And it, I dare say, improved my life forever. The lovely and gracious Gail and I were married. So I just wanted to say publicly, happy anniversary, honey. You're still the love of my life.
Yes, just briefly. Unfortunately, suddenly and unexpectedly, one of our dearest friends this past week passed away, and his name is Robert Bullitt Daly. You will know him by the national anthem that he sings on Memorial Day in the Veterans Memorial every year for us. And also, he joins me in the cemetery to sing either Amazing Grace or Battle Hymn of the Republic. He's a World War II veteran, and his stories are simply amazing. A great service to his country. And just a few weeks ago, I was watching a rather new movie called Wind Talkers, and they mentioned that they were on the island of Saipan, and a light bulb went on and said, I think that's where Mr. Daly was. So I had the opportunity to talk with him, and he just was so gracious, because you really at times don't know how to approach people that have actually gone through it. And he said it's it's so real. He said, I watched it so many times. It's pretty close to the way it was. And he was really gracious to the Navajo Indians for their language that saved many Marines and his friends on that island. He had a lifetime of a lot of sorrow, but a lifetime of wonderful accomplishments. You know, I was really proud to call him a friend. And I think his greatest gift was the ability to make people laugh. And he really made the world a better place. And he made the world a better place for most of us. At his wake and the funeral, there was sadness, but it was a celebration of life. Not just his life, but the life he gave all of us. I guess you could sum him up as just being a God-loving, big, beautiful, singing, fun-loving Irishman that just happened to be a Marine. We will all miss him, and I don't think we ever will forget him. So I'd like to just say farewell. Peace be with you, my friend. That to Robert Bobby Bullet Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Any additional comments from anybody? Move we adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.